I have shared my screen. I hope everybody can able to see that. And if at all any one of you is not able to see, please let me know. So today we are going to look into several other commands of Harman. So let us proceed with those things. So last class we have been discussing about the advantages of Harman. Then we have seen several configuration parameters that we have with Harman, and also three commands. One is backup database, which is to take the backup of database, and second one is backup archeolog, so which is for taking the backup of archeologs. And the next one, we have seen a combination of taking the database backup and the archeologs backup at the same time. So for that we have used a command backup database plus archeolog. So we stopped the things there. So let us continue with the things. So first one today. So when we run this particular command backup database plus archeolog, so we understood yesterday that the backup will go to flash recovery area by default. Now that is the default location that we have. But if at all, if you feel that I don't require my backup to be stored in flash recovery area, then we can make use of a command, which I am going to show you now. Okay, so as you can see over here, the backup is by default going to flash recovery area. But if at all we don't require our backup to go to flash recovery area, then we can make use of a command called format. For example, I want the backup to be stored in U02 with some name like this. So we are going to use a command like this. So we say backup format equals to the location and the file name, and in the file name you need to compulsory mention that percentage %t, so which is nothing but the reference number. So Oracle is going to create one unique number, or it's based on the timestamp. So at what time you are taking the backup, or at what time the backup piece is getting created, so the timestamp will be taken, and then you are going to say database plus archeolog. So what this command will do is, instead of taking the backup into flash recovery area, this will go and take the backup into U02 location, and even the file name also will be defined on whatever we specified. And you may see this particular error which is saying created file is already existing, but don't worry about that. When you have multiple channels allocated, usually you may see this error, but it doesn't have it is not actually an error. Okay, so backup got completed. Now, 10G Artman, it came with a special option called compressed backups. So this option is not there in 8i or 9i versions of Artman. So from 10G onwards, it got introduced with compressed backup. And when you use this compressed backup, the size of the backup pieces will be reduced a lot. So for that, we are going to use a command like this. So you need to say backup as compressed backup set, then database plus archeolog. So it is going to take the backup of database, but at the same time it is going to compress that. And to give an example, um, when we implement this, you are going to get a huge difference in the backup size. For example, once I implemented this on a very small database, and without compression, the backup size used to be 14 GB, and after I use this compressor backup set, the backup size reduced it to 2 GB. So that means from 14 GB, the backup size came down to 2 GB. That means I saved 12 GB of space. So for a small database itself, if you can save 12 GB, then you can estimate for bigger databases, how much space we can save and what would be the benefit, all those things. So that is one advantage we have with compressor backup. So give me a moment. I have created some dummy tables. Probably that is causing the issue. Okay. So that is how you are going to take compressed backup. And one advantage Arman gives you is whatever the backups that you have taken till now. So through Arman, you can list down all those backups with the information with the help of this command list backup. So this command is going to give you list of all Arman backups which you have ran against against this database till now. So it is going to give you a very big list for us. So basically, to provide this list of information, Oracle need to store this information somewhere in the database, and that is nothing but your control file. So whatever the Arman backup information that you are taking, that information it will be there in um, control files, and from control files it is going to list down all this information. So what information it is going to list, you can have a look here. So for example, the first one is BS key, that is nothing but backup set key. So every backup set will have a number assigned, and that we call it as backup set ID or backup set key. And the second one we have is whether the type of the backup, whether it is a full backup or whether it is incremental backup. So it is going to give you that information. So more about what is incremental backup we will see at later point of time. And then it is going to give you what is the size of this backup set and into which device you have taken this, and how much time Oracle has spent in taking the backup. So it is going to list down all those things for us. So this information, this entire information will be recorded into control file of the database, and whenever you say list backup, from that control file only it is going to give you that information. So that is about the list backup command. And the next command that we have is suppose due to some space issues you have deleted some backups at OS level. So let's say I went to U01 or 10G slash recovery area. So if you look at, we have two folders. Yesterday we ran backup commands, so for that one folder got created, and today I ran some more backup commands, so it is going to give me another folder for us. Suppose I remove the yesterday's directory, completely. So physically at OS level, I am removing this directory, or I am removing these files. So even though you did this at OS level, Arman will not be able to understand that, and Arman will still assume that the backups are available. For example, I deleted the backups of 16th August, But when you say list backup, in list backup it is going to show you even the backup sets which were taken on 16th August. So frankly, we don't have the backup at OS level, but still Oracle feels that the backup is available and it is all there to recover, etc. So now what is our target is we need to make Arman understand that these files are no more there. So for that we are going to use a command called crosscheck backup. So when you run this crosscheck backup command, you know what crosscheck is going to do. So crosscheck is going to basically do the verification by comparing the two files. So what this crosscheck command is going to do is whatever the file existing at OS level and whatever the file it is there in DB level, so it should say both should match to each other. So then only these things will be done, or otherwise this cross check command is going to mark your backup pieces as expired. For example, we deleted all the 16th August backup pieces. So thus that you can see the status of these backup pieces as expired. So because all those backup pieces got deleted. So now what we need to do is we need to delete this expired backup information also. And for that you are going to use this command delete expired backup. Now one problem with the delete expired backup command is when you run it, it will prompt you yes or no. But when it comes to real time, when we schedule these things through a script, then script should not ask you yes or no. Script should take the decision automatically. And for that we are going to use a command delete no prompt expired backup. So here what happens is it is not going to ask you anything yes or no. So straight away it is going to take the backup. Sorry, straight away it is going to delete the files. So you can see here without asking any permission and all again. So it is just deleted all the files which are unnecessary in the database. So this is one advantage that we have. And similar to cross-check backup, we have a command for cross-checking archlogs also. So we can say cross-check archlog all, and if at all we found out any things are expired or something, then you can make use of these things. Delete no prompt expired archlog all. So this is how you are going to deal with the expired backups and all. And yesterday we were talking about the recovery window scenario where we understood retention policy is having two types of things, like one is recovery window and the second one is redundancy. So as I said, in real time we will be using recovery window of 90 days, but in our practice and all it is necessary to use redundancy only. So probably you can use redundancy of 3 or 4, some value like that. So if at all we have some redundancy applied and there are so many backups, then Oracle can mark some backups as obsolete backups. So that means obsolete means unnecessary. So if you want to list down all the unnecessary backups available in the disk, then you can run this command report obsolete. It is going to show you which backups are not necessary for us. And if you want to delete them, you need to say delete. So you need to say delete no prompt um, obsolete. So it is going to delete all the backup pieces which are not at all required for the recovery path. And as we discussed yesterday, apart from block level backup, even Arman can also perform file level backup. And for that, we are going to use this command: backup copy as database. Sorry, it's backup as copy database. So this is going to take the backup of files, physical files as it is. I mean, what you have done in cold backup or hot backup. So similar to that, it is going to happen. So let us wait for this to complete. And meanwhile, anyone is having any queries? Whenever the backups goes beyond the retention policy, then those backups will become obsolete. For example, if I set my retention policy to recovery window of let's say 7 days, and today I have taken the backup, so till next 1 week that backup will be available, and after 1 week on 8th day, because 7 days got completed, on 8th day the backup will be marked as obsolete. So obsolete means unnecessary backups. Yeah, if you use redundancy, then after so many backups, that will become obsolete. Like if I set redundancy of 3, for example, if you have taken 3 backups, till the time it will be fine. And the moment you have taken 4th backup, then the first backup will become obsolete. Yeah, exactly. So any more queries from anyone? Okay. So let us proceed with the next commands. That is the first one, to find out how to validate the database. So for that we are going to use the command restore database validate. So this command is going to validate your database. Sorry, it is going to validate your backup. And always, whatever the latest backup you have taken, this command is going to validate that particular backup sets only. So as I said earlier, validating the backup is nothing but finding out whether your backup is perfect or not, or whether your backup contains any corrupted files or errors and etc. So that is what basically it is going to do here. No, no, no. It is not going to do any restore. It is just going to simulate the restore. That's it. So nothing to worry about the current database. And apart from this, if you want to validate a particular backup set, then you can use one more command. So let's show you that. So if I want to validate a particular backup set, for example, then I need to use this command validate backup set. For example, I want to validate backup set number 23. So I need to write down this command validate backup set, then backup set number, semicolon, and enter. So what happens is Oracle will go to that particular backup set and it is going to try to validate that particular backup set. So this is one thing that we have. And apart from these two, we have one more command which through which we can validate our database before taking the backup. For example, let's say you have spent 5 hours on taking a backup, and after taking the backup you ran this validate command, and it has shown you some error message saying that your backup is no more valid. That means whatever the 5 hours of effort you have done, so that effort is really waste. So what Oracle thought is, instead of validating the backup after instead of validating the backup after you take the backup of database, why can't we validate before taking the backup itself? Because if corruption is there in the data files, then only it will go to backups. So if you can avoid the corruption at the OS level itself, then when you avoid corruption at the database level itself, then you don't require to bother about the backup. So that's the reason. For this, Oracle has one more command in the repository. So the command is backup validate database archive log all. So this is the command. It is going to validate the database before it is going to take the backup. So again, here also it is not going to take any backup. It is just going to verify whether archaeologs and database is fine or not, or if any corruption is there, it is going to display that the message on the screen. So that's how we have those things. So anybody is having any queries? Okay, so let me take a backup here, and then we will start the recovery scenarios. So whatever the recovery scenarios we saw in normal user managed backups, so here also through Arman we are going to see the same things. So let us proceed with that. So backup got completed. What I am doing here is I am removing one data file. For example, here I have one data file by the name users01.dbf. So I am removing that file at OS level. So if you look at the file now, so you can see it says no such file or directory. So the file got deleted at OS level. Then how you are going to recover this particular data file? So for that we need to run some commands, and these commands anyway we need to execute one by one. So Arman gives you one flexibility that you can use something called a run block. So run block is nothing but a series of steps execution. For example, now in this scenario where you want to recover your data file, you are going to write down a run block like this. So you are going to say run, and first you are going to make the table space offline. Then you need to say restore that particular table space, then recover the table space, and then you need to say alter table space name online. So same steps we are going to follow even when we take cold or hot backup also, but the only difference is there you need to take care all those things manually. But when it comes to Arman, you can just write this run block and you can execute it, and one by one all the steps will be executed. So now you can see the restore and recovery got completed, and if you go and check ls-ltr, now it is showing that the file is available. So that means recovery got completed successfully. So that is how you are going to perform a data file. Then similarly we have steps to recover system data file, then redo log files, control files, all those things. So you can just by looking at the run block, you can just practice it. The same steps you will be applying there also. So the next topic is recovery catalog. We need to understand about it. But well before that, anyone is having queries? Okay. So let us start with this concept recovery catalog. Now, what we understood earlier is whenever we take Arman backup, that information is going to be stored in control file. And suppose assume all the control files of the database are lost. So if all the control files are lost, already you have two ways to recover. One is using either complete recovery or using incomplete recovery. Now, in both the situations, either you go for complete recovery, what we do is we will recreate the control files, and in case of incomplete recovery, we will be copying that from the backup location. But either in complete or incomplete case, the problem is you are going to lose this backup information, Arman backup information. So, to avoid this kind of situation, what Oracle has brought this is a recovery catalog concept. So what it says is, if you have two databases A and B, and you are taking Arman backup of A, so usually the Arman backup information will be stored in A itself, in the control file itself. But Now what we are doing is, instead of storing that information in target database control file, we are going to store that information in a separate database. Like as I said, A and B are there. So A backup information you are going to store in B, and B backup information you are going to store in A. And whenever you are doing something like this, like storing your backup information in some other database than here, then we call it as recovery catalog. So that is what you can read in the first few points. So where it says Harmony will restore the backup information in the uh, target database control file, and if we lost these control files and perform the either complete or incomplete recovery, then we are going to lose the information, and even though the physical backups are available, still we can't use them. That is the biggest problem. And to avoid this situation, Harman introduced a recovery catalog. So a recovery catalog is a database, a separate database which is going to store all the target database backup information. And point number 3 says one recovery catalog can support multiple target databases. So that is one advantage that you have. So if you have 100 databases in your environment, you don't require to create one-on-one databases, one-on-one recovery catalog. So for all the 100 databases, you can just maintain only one recovery catalog. But one important thing is the version also you need to look at. So if your target database version is 10G, then automatically your recovery catalog also should be of 10G. If it is 11G, you need to look into 11G. So that version compatibility is a must. Whenever you are configuring or using this recovery catalog. And okay, so last one says we cannot obtain recovery catalog information from target database, but vice versa it is possible. So let us say B has become recovery catalog of A. Then if somebody asks you, if somebody asks A what is the recovery catalog name, then they need to look into the names of the bottles. They need to look into names of the things. So instead of that, you can maintain that information in the B itself. So you don't require to verify in the control file of target database. So that is one advantage that we have with recovery catalog. And below you have some steps defined on how to configure the recovery catalog and all. To configure recovery catalog, basically I require two databases in two different servers, but as of now the configuration is not ready. So and I'm just not showing the practical things now. I'm just moving ahead to the next topic because I don't have another database ready. So next class I will make that server ready, and we will see how exactly we are going to configure the recovery catalog and how it is going to give us the benefit. So we will see all those things. So anyone is having queries? Usually it depends on what files you are going to lost. For example, if you lost data files, then you will be doing complete recovery. And if you lost any of the BDO log files or RQ log files or control files, and if you don't have multiplexing, then you would be going for incomplete recovery. But the recovery itself is very rare case, because when you are doing recovery means the file is missing, and when the file will be missing only in two situations. One is manually somebody deleted it by mistakenly, and number two, the hard disk which is there or on which the data file is there. So maybe that hard disk got crashed. Only in these two situations you will be observing that you know there is a requirement for recovery. So I can say in a lifetime of DDA, hardly we may do 10 times or 20 times recovery only, and this is the maximum number that I am seeing. 10, 10 also is very huge number. We won't do recovery operations very frequently. Any other questions? Okay. So let us start with the next concept, that is incremental backup in ARM. So for example, let's take one scenario. We have a database, and let's say that database is daily increasing by 10 GB. So right now, let's assume today my database is 100 GB. So tomorrow the size of the database will be 110 GB. Day after tomorrow 120 GB and 130 GB. So it's keep on increasing like this. So let us assume something like that. And today, when my database size is 100 GB, if I want to take backup, let's say it has taken 1 hour. Then tomorrow, if I want to take a backup, then the database size will be 110 GB. So taking the backup will take more than 1 hour of time. So because the database size got incremented to 10 GB directly. So if you continue this for 10 days, then the database size will become 200 GB, and the time taking to take the backup will be 2 hours. So when this database size is keep on increasing, the backup time also will keep on increasing, and at a certain point of time, you may identify a situation that even the backup is running for 24 hours, it is not going to get completed any time. So this especially happens with a very large database. So for example, Facebook is there. So Facebook or Twitter, daily they will be getting 10 terabytes of data. So daily 10 terabytes is getting added means today the database size is let's say 500 terabytes. Tomorrow it will be 510 terabytes, and day after tomorrow 520 terabytes. So the size will be increasing like that. So in such situations, taking the backup of database will take time daily. Even the backup time also will increase daily. So to avoid these situations, Oracle came with the concept called incremental backup. And what it says is, probably in a month or week, at least once you need to take the full backup of the database, which we usually represent it in incremental backup. We represent it as level 0 backup. So level 0 means it is going to have full database backup. So in a month or in a week, or once in 15 days or anytime you need to take one full backup of the database, even though how many hours it is going to run, and the rest of the days you need to go for incremental backup. For example, every Sunday I can go for level 0 backup, that means full backup of the database, and from Monday till Saturday we can go for incremental backup. But the backup is very mandatory and it is important to be done in real time. So that is how we have the concept of incremental backup, and we need to take the backup of only the changes that happen from yesterday to today. So for example, today my database size is 500 terabytes and tomorrow it is 510 terabytes. Tomorrow when I am taking backup, I am going to take only the 10 terabytes what was added newly to my database. So this is just to avoid the time taking process, and this will speed up the export. This will speed up the armament process also.
फोन करे कहाँ थाकेला उनीहरूले कहाँ पर बेस भयो त
So that is how we have incremental backups in place. And usually incremental backups are divided into two types. One is called differential incremental backup and the second one is cumulative incremental backup. But both the differential and cumulative incremental backups are going to have level 0 and level 1. So as I said, level 0 means full database and level 1 means incremental backup. And the very first time whenever you are using incremental backup, always, even though you issue level 1 backup, very first time it is going to perform level 0 backup only. And how Arman knows that it need to take only incremental changes that happen from yesterday to today. So basically it is going to identify the change in the block SCN number. So every block will have one SCN number allocated, and that we call it as block SCN. So if yesterday to today the block SCN number didn't got changed, then Oracle is going to ignore that particular block. And if at all the SCN number got incremented from yesterday to today, then it is going to take the backup of that particular block. So that is all we have regarding incremental backup. So first let us go and see the commands on how to perform this. So if you want to go for level 0 differential backup, then you need to use the command like this: backup level 0 database plus archive log. So by default, if you don't specify anything, it is going to take differential backup. So here I have not specified any type, so it is going to take differential backup itself. Sorry, just given the command backup incremental level 0 database plus archive log. Okay, so first we have taken level 0. Now because level 0 is readily available, now we can say level 1 database. So because already level 0 is done, it is going to complete level 1 very fast. So similarly, if you want to go for cumulative, then you need to say like this: backup cumulative incremental level 0 database plus archeolog or just database whatever. Then if you want to go for incremental, then you would say cumulative incremental level 1. So basically, as I said, whenever you issue this incremental backup, it is going to compare the SCN number between yesterday backup and today backup, and if the SCN number is changing, then it is going to take the backup, and if the SCN number is not changing, then it is not going to take that backup at all. So Oracle 10G came with a wonderful option. So what it is going to do is, every time if admin need to compare from yesterday backup and today backup, for each and every block it is going to take some time. So instead of that, what in 10G we have is, we have a feature called block change tracking. So when you enable this block change tracking, what happens is, whenever one block got modified, that block ID and the other information will be placed in a file, and whenever you initiate admin backup, directly it can go to that particular file, and it can take the information of modified blocks or changed blocks, and it can take the backup very fast. So basically this blockchain tracking is to make the backup working so faster. So for that we have those things. So first let us go and enable blockchain tracking. So the command for that is alter database enable blockchain tracking as. So we need to provide one location. Sorry, you need to say using file. So in U02, I want to store this information, tracking information in this file, And whenever you enable blockchain tracking, there will be a background process which supports this. So the background process name is CTWR, which stands for Change Track Writer. CTWR stands for Change Track Writer. So once you enable this blockchain tracking, then you will be having this background process in place. And now if you take backup, it will complete much more faster way, because all that change block information is there in the tracking file. So you can see how fast it got completed, because after you enable blockchain tracking, all the information will be there in the tracking file, and directly you can read the tracking file directly for the change of blocks information. And who is going to update this tracking file every time? It is by a process called CTWR, just now as we discussed, stands for change track writer. And if at all you want to disable the blockchain tracking, then you will be using this command after database disable blockchain track. So anyone is having questions? Okay. Differential is something like daily whatever the changes it happen, so it is going to take the backup of only those changes. For example, let's say on every Sunday you are taking incremental backup, level 0, that is full database backup, and on Monday to Saturday you are taking incremental backup. And let's say on Monday you have issued this backup incremental command, then what happens is whatever the changes happen between Sunday to Monday, it is going to take only those changes into backup. And in Tuesday, it is going to take the changes happen between Monday to Tuesday. But when it comes to cumulative, what happens is, the meaning of cumulative means appending day by day. So cumulative is nothing but appending. So on Monday, it is going to take the backup of Sunday to Monday, but on Tuesday, cumulative will behave here something like Sunday to Monday plus Monday to Tuesday. So it is going to take both the day changes, because we said cumulative, and cumulative is nothing but appending to the existing backup. So what happens is, when you look at the backup sizes, the backup sizes when you go for differential backup will be always same, but when you go for cumulative backup, the backup size will be different. Why? Because on Sunday it will have some size, on Tuesday it will have some other size, and by the time Friday it is going to store entire week information. So that's the reason cumulative backups will be always of more size than differential. So any other queries? So uh, the next concept that we have is performance tuning, so which is one of the critical areas for DBA. So we will be starting this performance tuning on Monday. So and that is all we have for today. On Monday, before starting performance tuning, we will look into that recovery catalog creation. So once we complete that recovery catalog creation, we will go ahead with performance tuning class. So before we close the call today, anyone is having queries? Okay. So let us meet on Monday, and we will look into the things.